One, live. Call Freddy. Hey, who's got it better than the people in Baltimore? Nobody. We got the Orioles in first place by 10 games. We got the Baltimore Ravens starting their season at home tomorrow against Cincinnati. And, of course, we've got the University of Maryland 1-0. That's 1-0 heading down to South Florida today. Yeah, I am stoked for this weekend. But most important, tomorrow, Wayne, we have the return of Donald Science and myself. And, of course, Freddy, and, of course, you with your Redskin Minute, and, of course, Barry Levinson, the famed director, on In the Nest, 9 o'clock Sunday mornings. I'll get Freddy on the phone right now. Freddy, are you stoked for the return of In the Nest? There's no doubt. That's right, Barry Levinson, correct. Let's start with the Orioles last night. And I had asked you a question before, and I was a little upset to see Ryan Webb and then me come in while we're trying to clinch a pennant. Give us Buck's philosophy on that in the 8th inning last night. You know, it was funny. Joe Saunders came in yesterday, and he ran in from the bullpen, and he's pitching double play ball out of the inning. What is it about Joe Saunders with the Oriole uniform on where he becomes somewhat successful? Yeah, for sure. Funny though how. All right. Where else would you hit him?
There you go. That's the way to send the man out at the end of the career.
Orioles are 82-58, 22 games left, and they're now, I think, 2 games behind the Angels. So that might be 3. And the Yankees, it's almost like magic. The Orioles lose and the Yankees and Toronto lose. And just so it's no loss last night. And in essence, the magic number is 14. And 14 when there's 22 games left is not a lot.
I have a friend who keeps counting the games down by uniform numbers.
Okay.
So the other day it was Palmer. We were 22. So now I guess this is the Nolan Remold game.
Nolan Reimold.
Or what's it? Did Wayne Gross wear number 14 when he played for us? I'm looking for a 14. Merv Retman? Yeah, he was great on Sundays for the Orioles. What number was Merv Retman? 14. There you go. It's Merv Retman Day today.
Hey, the great Earl Morrow. Was he not? Whoa.
15.
He was 15. He was 15, Freddie. Shame on you.
Well, speaking of third baseman.
Wait a minute. We're speaking of third baseman, and it's coming up for my next topic because it's one of my topics today. Freddie, I am now convinced that we have to make a play for J.J. Hardy. with Manny's 2 years in a row of being injured, all of a sudden, to me, J.J. Hardy is becoming more and more valuable. This guy, I don't care about his home runs. This guy has so many clutch hits this year, and in Davis's slump this year, batting only 195, Hardy has been a guy who has stepped up to deliver like he did the other night in the third win against Cincinnati. 2 outs, bases loaded, and he hits a rocket to left field against a pitcher who doesn't give up a lot of runs. So how do you feel about Hardy re-signing him? I know he's 32 years old. It's just going to be hard to lose him, and if I got to look at him playing for the Evil Empire, it's going to make me sick. Because he's just been great this year. I mean, what's he bat, like 275 or 280? But it's just the timely hits. They're just there. And he had that one little 3-game spell, like a blip. And outside of that, his defense has been superb, and just really like him a lot. And now Manny at third base. When Pierce comes back, he goes to first and Davis goes to third until late in the game. He is.
Sure, I saw that, and I'm encouraged by it. So the pickup of Paredes,
Paredes ain't going to fly. 3 errors in 2 games is not going to work.
And then they brought in Kelly Johnston.
I don't know. How's he defensively, Freddy?
Good.
Let's look ahead a little bit. I think we're allowed to with a 9.5-game lead. The first series, no matter who it's against, rotation would be Tillman, Gonzalez, and Chen. And who's your 4th guy in a 7-game series?
Probably have to go with one car. Yeah. And read someone this year still man of other than never goes for why do it or politics on top of cars. Yeah, right now for one it's coming to
Right. I tell you what else. I mean, I am amazed, number one, that they ever sent Gonzalez down, but that's another story. Right. How about Chen though? How effective has he been lately? Last night, Tampa Bay did something to me that was unusual, and that is they just kept throwing strikes. I mean, 0-2 they were throwing strikes. They never tried to, get cute with the pitches. They just threw strikes all night. And the Orioles had been waiting out, playing a little Yankee ball, trying to wear pitchers down. But it was strike after strike after strike, little effective against the Orioles. No, not at all. Not hardly at all. No, it is, but look, I look for the Orioles to get to Smiley a little bit today. I can't imagine he's going to shut him down again like he did last game. But, the Orioles have been shut out 10 times this year. Unbelievable. Now, their hitting is nothing to gloat about. And, bases loaded, if Scope makes that play, albeit it was a hard play, they might have got out of that inning. You don't know what would have happened, okay? But there would have been 1 out, and then the guy Hannigan would have been up with 2 out. So you don't know what would have happened.
Boy, Scope.
No, you're right. It didn't matter. They just...
Boy, has Scope been hot with the bat. It's starting to match the glove. The guy's starting to look like a really solid investment.
He's got 14 home runs or 15? Yeah. He's going to... I'm curious. Tillman hasn't been pitching that great lately. You think he would... No, he isn't, and the pitch count's elevated quickly, and he's out of the game, but still not pitching that bad. Still keep... Well, I tell you one thing, Freddie. I am really looking forward. I look forward to every game now. I can't wait to watch it. And when you're winning, yeah, right. That's 17 years ago. All right, let's take 1 minute here. When we come to the second break, we're going to talk a lot about football. But Freddie, right now, Ryder Cup. Were you happy with the picks of Webb Simpson and Hunter Mahan and Keegan Bradley? I like Tom Watson. I like Tom Watson as a coach. I'm not sure why, but because I think the U.S. are big underdogs. I don't know what the line is on the Ryder Cup, but I would bet it's probably 9-5 in Europe. And just no Tiger, really no.
Where's the sizzle in this tournament?
In this team?
Yeah.
Well, the sizzle's all in Europe with McIlroy and Keimer, and you could keep naming them.
So you're going to turn this on, and you're going to be watching the other guys.
No, I'll watch this. I'll watch this for sure. I love the Ryder Cup.
No, I know you watch it, but the stars.
What's that, Freddie? Yeah. Well, the only sizzle will be if it's close on Sunday. I mean, that would be it. Well, that's up against football too, so it's it's and the Orioles. Well, I hope by that time the Orioles are clinched. Okay, I think it's the last week of the month.
That's probably the last week of the baseball season as well.
Yeah, right. The last week of the season.
Boston's in.
Yeah, that's it. Freddie, thanks a lot for checking in, and We'll talk to you tomorrow. Alrighty. When you select a professional, Wayne, you always look at the backgrounds of the persons involved, particularly involving their experience, competence, and established performance. In Maryland, there's only one number one leader with regard to personal injury claims, and that's the firm of Science at Kirk. And of course, Donald Science and myself host In the Nest tomorrow. It's strictly a labor of love for Donald. He absolutely worships the Ravens, and to be honest with you, I look up to Donald Science almost as much as I look up to anybody. This is one wonderful guy, and I'm very lucky to be friends with him. Science and Kirk have handled more auto accident cases than any law firm in the history of the state. Donald and his three sons make a formidable team representing their clients. Call their hotline 24/7 at 1-800-LAWYERS for assistance. Remember, Science and Kirk presents In the Nest tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock here on CBS Sports Radio 1300. We'll be back in just a few moments.
Back to Sports Maven, presented by Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. Now, once again, here's Bruce Posner, Sports Maven.
All right, I'm going to tell everybody, Wayne, about one of your additions to the website, and that, of course, is the new clothing part. If you go to the website and click Store, S-T-O-R-E, you will see all this all the Terp Talk merchandise. All right, Terp Talk hat. I'm wearing the Terp Talk shirt. Very, very, very reasonably priced. We've had some sales already.
Yeah,
right?
It's been fun.
Yeah.
It's a great addition, getting the brand out there, and it looks good on Bruce. I know it's going to be hitting the golf course here any moment.
Right, but it's nice, you know, and my friends out there, and it's very, very reasonable. I mean, the prices are, it's not a profit-making venture. We just want to get the word out about Terp Talk, and I just thought it was more fun than anything else. But the sales are rising. They're booming. They're up 300% from last month.
Right, and it's, as you said, it's a fun venture. We're going to have some more stuff up there for you Terp Talk fans and Terp fans to pick up to show your fandom.
That's exactly right. Let's talk about the Cincinnati Bengals. The season starts, and wow, I'm tired of hearing about who's going to make the team, who's not going to make the team, the offense, and Kubiak and Joe Flacco and everything else. Tomorrow, it's game time. The Cincinnati Bengals come in. Andy Dalton, never too much success at M&T Bank Stadium. Giovanni Bernard had a great game last year in Baltimore. The great A.J. Green, from Georgia, who caught the touchdown pass to send the game into overtime. The tight end, Jermaine Gresham from Oklahoma.
I really like that guy.
He's big. He's good. And then a guy who a lot of guys passed over, a lot of teams passed over because of some off-the-field issues, but he's turned out to be a great player. That's Vontez Perfect from Arizona State. Ray Malaluga from USC. And, of course, the dreaded Pac-Man Jones.
Never liked him.
West
West Virginia Mountaineer.
Do you remember we were playing Maryland was playing West Virginia at College Park, and West Virginia was just taking it to us. It was one of those Steve Slayton games. And at the end of the game, Maryland had a wide-open receiver, and Pac-Man Jones tackled him like 10 yards out of bounds for no reason. I remember it vividly. He might have left because it was a blowout. But Pac-Man Jones, never been a big fan. And let's face it, the Bengals, they were division winners last year. They've been to the playoffs consistently. Horrible first-game playoff team. But should be a great game. And the Ravens, I tell you, all the experts that I've seen, most of them are picking Cincinnati tomorrow.
I just expect the Ravens to win.
So do I. I don't have any doubt that they're going to win. I watched Hank Goldberg last night, and he clearly said that the Ravens, it's one of his best bets of the year. He said I don't like to use the word that begins with L. It ends with
lead pipe lock.
Lock, yeah, I guess was the word he used. But a 1-point favorite. Should be a great game. Joe's got to be out ready to fly. And look, here it comes. You know, Steve Smith. Of course, we're missing Ray Rice, but Bernard Pierce is in for the game, and the backups are fine. Talaferro and Forsett, and it should be very, very interesting. And I was glad to see that Fitzgerald Toussaint, I think that's how you pronounce it, made the practice squad for the Ravens. And I was glad to see Michael Campanero make the team from Wake Forest. I think he's going to be a big plus.
He's probably my favorite guy right off the get-go.
Right, he's super. And of course, I was sad.
Torrey Smith.
I was sad to see Laquan Williams not make it. I don't know if he's caught on yet. I'll try and check that one out. But
well, you were talking or maybe it was Freddy, who said about the practice.
Practice.
The practice. That getting the ball out quickly in the passing game and setting all that up is a big key to the season. And then you said the defensive backs. And I still think running the ball. The lack of the running game last year set the whole table. When you talk about late game collapses, I see it because the defense gets stuck on the field and the offense comes out and has to throw the ball to win. If you can't run the ball, it's not the same Ravens football that's been here for the past
Right. Well, one thing's
Mhm.
connected to another.
Yeah.
Okay. If you don't run the ball, you can't run the clock. You put the pressure on the defense. You could look at it that way. But my thought was last year there were so many games that were won that we lost at the end. We could never stop. The Ravens could never stop a team from driving at the end of the game.
Right.
They just could not do it.
So,
And
well, either one of these things has to get better to be successful. Either you have to be able to play pass defense, or you have to be able to run the ball so this just isn't an issue. If it's Pierce, if it's Rice. I did a fantasy draft on Tuesday night or Wednesday night, and one of the last guys, both Pierce and Rice, stayed on the board until like the 9th, 10th round. Even the people out there picking fantasy aren't taking Rice. I was disappointed. I was ready to take him 2 guys before somebody picked him up. But I think he's going to have to be the key to get this going again. Got to be able to run block, and then maybe it's not even who the tailback is. It's can the team run block well enough that when you get the lead, and the Ravens have the lead with this passing game, that you can salt the game away.
Well, Assembly's back. A lot of guys, it just seems like a better offensive line. The step up at center, which is crucial. There's depth in the offensive line now. Even a guy like Gronkowski, if he has to play, at least he's played a year. And just, I'm just excited. I don't see the 8.5. I think this is a 10 or 11 win team. And of course, we're all biased, but I really believe that this team is a lot better than people think. You look across the board, you got Monroe, now a seasoned Raven at left tackle. Kalachi Assembly at left guard. Zuda at center. Marshall Yonda at right guard and Wagner at right tackle. And you got good backups. This kid Urschel has got rave reviews. And look at the receiving corps on the depth chart. Torrey Smith, backed up by Marlon Brown, Deontay Thompson, and Campanaro. Come on. Steve Smith, Jacoby Jones, and Kamar Aiken. The receiving is not even an issue. And Kyle Juszczyk from Harvard. This team offensively, this guy's going to get some run. You smile when I say Harvard, but this guy is really...
Well, he gets the GPA of the team up a little bit.
A little bit, right. And
I'm not biased because I'm not basically a Ravens fan. I'm watching this from enough distance to say I think that the team, there's parts there that weren't there last year. If you won 8 games before, this is a qualitatively better team, especially across the offensive line.
Well,
and I like Force. You're talking about Justin Force is now the 3rd running back.
Right. He's good. I mean, the team is good. I mean, they are. I read something last night that nobody's picking the Ravens. Nobody thinks they're going to go anywhere far. But the Ravens are what you call that team that's out there that nobody wants to play. And to me, unless I'm mistaken, with Gary Kubiak, his offense in play, and the Ravens really have not had a true good offensive coordinator in a while.
Nope.
I mean, go back to the Super Bowl years. I mean, they just haven't had. I'm talking about the Super Bowl years with Ray Lewis, who, by the way, I heard delivered a very inspirational speech to the team yesterday after the unveiling of a statue.
Have you seen the statue?
No, it just was done yesterday. But, of course, it'll be the focal point tomorrow, along with Johnny Unitas. And certainly the two key guys in the history of Baltimore football. Johnny Unitas through one era, and then Ray Lewis through the past 13 eras. These are the eras of success. But, listen, I like the team. I like it across the board. I like the depth. I like the coaching. I like everything about it, and I love the fact that they finally have a real offensive coordinator, a creative guy, a guy who's could not wait to get here even after his debacle at Houston, his illness last year. The problem with Gary Kubiak and the problem with the Ravens, if the Ravens do well, Kubiak is what?
He's probably out of here.
He's gone. There's not even an issue about it.
Well, I think that the ability to put 2 receivers out there like a Steve Smith, a Torrey Smith, spread it out, and you get Owen Daniels, a great pass-catching tight end if he's got any gas left in that tank. Pitta, who can catch the ball and block, and then putting Ray Rice back there who can pass block and catch the ball in the backfield. gives you, when you need to move the ball, you got some weapons there that are tough matchups. And it's something that wasn't on the field last year.
I see a 27-16 win for the Ravens. I think they're going to score more than people think. I love to see that scripted first series. Kubiak's known for that. I'd like to see how it's going to go. I think you'll see Steve Smith catching a lot of balls, maybe a bomb or two to Torrey. And I'm really looking forward to the game tomorrow. Weather's supposed to be great in the 70s. What else can we say? You know.
Well, what's your take on Smith? Does he still have the speed to be a one, and he's just playing the role of a
Steve
two?
Smith?
Yeah.
I think Steve Smith will be a possession receiver. I don't think we're going to be seeing him going deep. He's got great hands. He's a great. He's all Anquan Bolden in my eyes. He's a tough guy, and if you're going to single coverage Steve Smith, all right, which you're going to have to, he's going to burn you. He's going to burn you for sure. What are you looking for?
Depth chart? Depth chart.
Yeah. Steve Smith's going to burn you, and I think that Torrey will be all the better for it.
Yeah.
And
so do you think Owen Daniels has any gas left in the tank to put two tight ends out there that can have to cover?
They went to Broadham and paid him if he didn't.
Yeah, but sometimes after training, I know you watch all this stuff religiously. I'm sure you've seen them out there.
He didn't show much in spring training, that's for sure. But, I don't want to go into the exhibition season. It's just a laborious, boring waste of time in my eyes. It's just too long. And when you have all these guys, just so many guys had no chance to make the team, I just don't get it. But what do you see tomorrow, Wayne?
For the Ravens?
Yeah.
I think you're going to see a team that, for the first time since maybe ever, is going to be spreading the ball around. That you're going to have to cover everybody all over the field. And if he runs the script right, suddenly you're going to see handoffs behind that, and you're going to see guys dropping in coverage, and the Ravens start to get 4 or 5 yards a carry, and a balanced attack that just hasn't really been here.
410-481-1300 if you want to call in the last break. Let's head out to our second break. This is Bruce Posner along with Wayne Viener today. You're listening to Coons Ford presents the Sports Maven. We'll be back in just a few minutes here on CBS Sports Radio 1300.
Spine Center, whose goal is to provide the highest quality of care to our patients. We strive to apply leading-edge treatment strategies, including complex spine
I
or brain
don't
surgery,
have any recollection
pain management,
of any of these backups that when you said defensive backfield. I recognize some of these other guys, the whole depth chart, but you skip beyond the starters in the defensive backfield. And,
well, you got to really fire. You got Terrence Brooks. You got Asa Jackson.
yeah, but I don't even know them from college. You said where these guys played or heard these guys before. And now the first time I'm going to see them is when they go on the field as a nickelback tomorrow. On a real football.
Hey, if the Redskins played in the Super Bowl, there'd be guys playing for you. You wouldn't know who they are. It's just how it is.
When you need insurance,
Yes.
whether it's personal or for your business, there's only one company in the Baltimore
It's
area
today?
that you should
God,
deal
it's so
with,
long
and that's
from now.
Mayor and
It's
Stein.
Marcus
And
Lee.
its owner, Paul
And then you're going to
Robinson.
see
Mayor
a
and Stein
monthly
brings
caller on the
$50,000
out there. You're going to get a little bit of DeAndre
agency,
Lane
family-owned
probably.
and operated.
You're going to get some Shaquille Bay in the slot.
Workers' compensation and auto insurance for the
I don't
following
know if they're going to
industries.
play.
No, they don't want to play him. Before it's over, they'll have to.
Electrical and paving contractors,
they don't
door
want
and window installers, landscape contractors, shopping center owners.
We haven't talked about Maryland yet.
installers,
Boulevard. Now,
Like, ugh.
here's
Hey, that's
Maven
good.
himself, Bruce Posner.
All right, back here on our third and final segment of Coons Ford presents the Sports Maven, and our intern Mason is displaying the Terp Talk hat that's now available on the website. Hit store when you go to terptalk.com and get some of these clothing and briefcases and everything.
Notebook bags, you get a backpack. The hat and the golf shirt are my favorite two things.
Right.
So last week I had on the Terp Talk golf shirt. Today I'm sporting Maryland, but Bruce is all Terp Talk today.
No, that's the only way to be.
The only way to be. You know, the Terps are in Tampa right now.
Ain't no stopping us now. All right, one win. All right, everybody. I predicted 7 or 8 wins. People have told me I'm completely out of my mind. I'm not out of my mind. All right, this team is much, much better. All right.
We scored 52 points last week. Maryland 52, JMU 7. A little more attrition at the wide receiver position, but I think the big news is C.J. Brown was running the ball like a madman, scored a bunch of touchdowns. Tailbacks, Wes Brown is back. Ross is back in there. Hey, we've got it going on the ground, and then he hit the long ball to Deion Long.
His passing was suspect, though.
Suspect.
That is a very, very big concern. He's got to straighten that out. And you take a look, you know, certainly Ohio State wasn't that impressive. They had trouble with Navy. But then again, who doesn't have trouble with Navy?
When you only play that type of running game once in a while, it is hard to defend. Navy stayed in that game. Now Ohio State's got Virginia Tech this week. But the big national games, you know, I expect Maryland to win today down in South Florida. They had a good tailback last week. They beat Western
Carolina.
Yeah.
Marlon Mack, 275 yards rushing. That won't happen today.
And Western Carolina stayed in the game, threw the ball 67 times. You think Maryland's going to put the ball up 67 times this week, Bruce?
If they put it up 27, it'll be a lot. All right. And if they put it up 67, it's because they're losing.
See, I think that if CJ's playing well, you got Diggs, you got Long, you got Marcus Lee could be the third guy, Shaquille Bay out there. You got the opportunity to have a 400 or 500-yard passing game if you want to. And the threat of him running, of CJ just taking off, is going to make him hard to cover for USF.
Yeah, it's Maryland should win this game, but you just, they're on the road. You never know what happens on the road. No, it would not be the biggest upset in the history of college football. Maryland's 13-point favorites. I think that'll be about what it is. I'm not looking for a blowout, Wayne. I'm looking for a 34-24 game, but just win, baby. Get to 2-0, come back home against the Mountaineers, and we'll take it from there.
We will. So we've got the who's the other big game here? Just Oregon, Michigan State?
There's 3 big games today. Michigan State's at Oregon. Great game. You're talking about speed against power, but Michigan State has its share of speed as well. And I think that Michigan State, will win that game, although they are underdogs. That game tells the story of the whole season for these teams, because obviously one of them's going to lose, and whoever loses is going to have to run that table to get to the final game.
Right. To get to the Final Four playoffs.
Right. So it's, but then again, when you win it, you could probably lose one game. So it's like,
It's a game and a half lead.
Well, you need to win this game if you're one of those teams, because it's too tough to run through your conference undefeated. It really is.
So you got Michigan State. I'm going with Oregon. The other game
USC at Stanford, all right? And that's a great, great battle. Sarkisian takes his embattled team on the road. Some internal strife and problems with the captain who jumped out the window and nobody knows what happened yet. But I like Stanford a lot. Stanford's very tough at home. I love David Shaw as a coach. I love their offense. And they're the team that seems to be able to solve the Oregon situation. And I think Michigan State probably has watched the Stanford films of playing Oregon 150 times. So those are 2 great games. USC at Stanford creates what we call the 2 TV setup, because it's right up against the Maryland game, which is on CBS Sports.
CBS Sports Network on the cable side, which is in the around 590 on the FiOS network and in the 200s on DirecTV.
All right, before we go through the NFL, let's take a look at some other story. Koji is out as the closer. He is gone. He might be finished.
Koji Uehara,
who was the closer for the Red Sox, gave up 2 home runs to the Yankees the other day. One of the final, a walk-off to Chase Headley and a home run to Mark Teixeira. Did you hear about Gino Auriemma?
I read a news article that he called the young lady.
He called the young lady, Monet Davis, the girl who captured the nation as the Little League pitcher, and he congratulated her. And he got an NCAA secondary violation. And it is just bizarre.
She's 13, right?
She's 13. She's going into the 8th grade, and I thought you were allowed to call into the 8th grade, not the 9th grade. But he was congratulated. She's from the area. She wants to be a UConn basketball player, but she's 13. You can't tell if she's going to be good yet.
That's why you got to count on the NCAA to really be able to enforce the rules and know what's important, because they're after who they get for having an extra serving of macaroni salad at a spring football event.
It was ridiculous. USA is waltzing through the FIBA world. This is, without question, I've said it now, this whole event, this USA playing in these games is so stupid that it's beyond belief.
I'm not watching it anymore.
Nobody's watching it. Now, what happened the last game against Ukraine? Kyrie Irving got hurt. All right, now Coach K says he's fine, he'll be back. What are they doing? Isn't playing basketball, every other night for 6 months enough on the body? That you're playing these world games that are meaningless? The USA has averaged a 35-point win. It is just stupid. And what's the difference if they lose?
Well, I think the biggest news, other than the fellow who got hurt for the Pacers, and now Kyrie Irving getting hurt, is was it New Zealand that came out and did a war dance before the basketball game the other night? That's the best part of the whole tournament to me so far. But I think it's got to go back to college kids. It's just too much pro ball, and these guys are breaking down, and it's going to affect somebody else is going to get hurt. Eventually, the pros are just going to walk away from this.
You know what UW stands for? Unwatchable. That's what it is. To watch a team you know is going to win by 30. It's a joke. It is an absolute joke. And Anthony Davis is playing great, and Rose is playing fine, and Kyrie Irving's playing good. I mean, well, what are they playing good against? It'd be like if Maryland had 11 games against James Madison. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, you get tired of watching after a while. But what happened in Buffalo?
Buffalo, the head coach, Doug Marrone, got in a fist fight with supposedly the, I think the personnel director. They were arguing about some decisions that were made, and they had to be separated. And when you throw E.J. Manuel into that picture, that is a surefire another losing season for the Buffalo Bills.
He was okay as a Florida State quarterback, I think.
Barely okay. He was not that great.
No, but they certainly pumped him up as a Buffalo Bill last year or so, and I'm not really sure it's there much in the way. I'm not really sure it's all there for RG3. Both these guys have to play a particular style of football that might not translate that well in the NFL game. It's still a drop-back passing league, although I'm impressed by what Russell Wilson, who isn't the world's greatest drop-back passer, boy, the Seahawks they were on fire against Green Bay.
The Seahawks are a special team. When you take a look at their superstars outside of the Russell Wilson, when you take a look at Cam Chancellor, number 31, strong safety, this guy hits everybody with and cleanly too. He's not a helmet guy. He is just a terror there. And Richard Sherman shut down to the point of stupidity what McCarthy was thinking about. Never one time thrown in his direction. Never keeping him. I mean, Sherman's running the whole field. It was ridiculous.
Well, I'm impressed still by the Seahawks pass rush. They're getting back there. They're beating the offensive tackles off the line. They did it to the Broncos. They did it again to the Packers last night. Now, just because they've had a couple great games in a row, what are they, 18-1 over the last 19 or 17-1 over the last 18? In the NFL, that stuff doesn't go on forever. You don't end up 30-1. Something's going to go wrong because it's the NFL and it's a parity league. But at the moment, boy, the Seahawks look unstoppable.
They certainly look like a team that could challenge the Dolphins' undefeated record. They won't, but they look like it. Their schedule's too tough. Having to play San Francisco twice, having to go to Washington.
Hey, all right. The last game they played in Washington, I think, was was that the playoff game when RG3 got hurt? I don't particularly remember, but you know the Redskins. I'll get my Redskin minute tomorrow, but I still think the Redskins are going to beat the Texans tomorrow.
Let's go around the horn right now. We'll get to that, of course. We got Atlanta at New Orleans, and no, New Orleans is at Atlanta, and I don't care that it's at Atlanta. I think they're on the way down. I like New Orleans a lot. They're 3-point favorites. I think they'll cover that.
You think the Falcons are on the way down?
Falcons on the way down.
So does apparently almost the entire city of Atlanta agrees with you.
Yeah, but the Saints are lousy on the road. I mean, that is a factor. So
but that's a similar stadium and similar setup to what they face at the Superdome.
Chicago is it Buffalo at Chicago? Buffalo Bills are at Chicago. Bills are 6.5. The Bills are explosive on offense, but I just don't like E.J. Manuel.
The Bills are explosive on offense. I think the Bears are explosive.
The Bears are. I meant the Bears are explosive.
I think Alshon Jeffrey and Brandon Marshall, and when the quarterback, whose name escapes me at the second, from Vanderbilt, who's with the Bears. Okay. Well, anyhow, when he's rolling, it's great. When he's not rolling, he's horrible.
Guy who was on Denver.
Yeah.
Horrible. You get old. So obvious. Redskins, I think, will take care of Houston. 8-point wins predicted by a lot. Redskins are what? Are they favored in that game?
No, they can't be. They got to be like a point dog on that.
3.5 point. No, they're 3.5 point underdog. You got to love that. Although you can't love the Redskins. You never know what's going to happen.
No, I think that RG3 is going to be better than he was in the preseason, but I don't see the return of the RG3 from 2 years ago.
A lot of good pub for Jake Locker from Tennessee. They're going into Kansas City tomorrow, but the Chiefs really fell off last year. There's no doubt at the end, the playoffs.
Boy, they had the Colts beat, and it just evaporated right there in front of everybody.
Yeah.
I still think the Chiefs have a pretty good team. I think it's a better team than the Titans have. But you know, my sleeper team is going to be the Colts to go a long way this year.
New England at the Dolphins. Now, this all depends on Tom Brady, but it will be supposedly a 100-degree day in Miami. So
weren't you down there for one of those 100-degree days?
Yes, that was against the Ravens last year. All the Ravens fans listening remember how disastrous. It was a great win, but I got to tell you something. It was the hottest thing I think I ever experienced, sitting in that sun in that game. It was just brutal. So how do you make up for it this year? You go to the game again in Miami. Why not? 49ers at Dallas. Dallas defense is horrendous, but they're going to score. Romo's going to score. I just don't think they can stop San Fran. I like San Fran in that game. The Rams are at the Vikings. Sean Hill. I'm going to take the Rams just because Sean Hill's at quarterback.
Well, I like Zach Stacy as a running back. Of course, Minnesota, they're waiting for Teddy Bridgewater to emerge as the starter there, but against Adrian Peterson, probably think he's still the best running back in the league.
Time. Adrian Peterson is still the best running back in the league, and you know I still like Sean Hill going in there tomorrow. I'm the one who doesn't believe the drop off from Sam Bradford to Sean Hill was big. Sean Hill's been successful whenever he's played, including for Maryland, except in the Orange Bowl. But he didn't play that bad in the Orange Bowl.
No, he just got blitzed by Grossman comes off the bench. Florida lights up. Maryland didn't make every play that was there to be made and loses by a lot. But it was close.
It could have done better on the Monday night games this year. Detroit at New York. Gotta like the Lions in that game.
Well, I think the marquee game is the Colts and the Broncos.
That's Sunday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a great game, and I think Denver's just too good. They're just too good. They're too good at Denver for sure. That game is at Denver, right? I'll tell you in a second. I wonder what that line is.
Well, I think that the Andrew Luck's still emerging. The Peyton Manning, I'm really interested to see if we saw Denver.
Denver 7.5 favorite over the Colts.
There's
I'm not so sure about that.
What, Denver 7.5? I'm not either. There's some historical precedent to say that we saw Peyton Manning start the decline that's not going to come back. So was the guy that petered out against the Seahawks the guy that's going to show up, or is he be back to the guy who scored 7 touchdowns on opening night against the Ravens last year? Which quarterback is it?
He's certainly fresher in the beginning of the year when you're old and coming to the end of your career. So early on, it'll be him. I think they're gonna like use him if the game, if they're up, they won't worry about him throwing for 7 touchdowns. They're gonna bring him in and out. I just have a feeling they're going to couch him along the season a little bit better. All right, here we go. We got big games. We got the Maryland today. We both predicted a Maryland win, and we both predicted a Ravens win tomorrow. We got to be greedy. These are 2 wins that are desperately needed. I think it's a big game for the Ravens. I think it sets the tone for the season, and then you got Pittsburgh coming right back in, and I'm getting the cut sign, so we are out of time. Remember, In the Nest tomorrow, 9 o'clock. Here on CBS Sports Radio, debut of the season, all football, all Ravens. We will see you then. Wayne, thanks for sitting in today.
You know what? Let me turn this off. But we never really got.
I want to tell you something. I don't know why, but it's 15 minutes behind. Now, is that because when I turn it on, does it start from the beginning?
Probably.
Okay.